This is crazy.
Alex and I can carry fairly well, don't worry.
I mean, I don't have to get it. All right, we're on, and I'm trying to see what episode this is before I say it out loud because I'm going to pick the wrong one.
Five.
And here we go. All right, welcome everybody to episode 45. This is our super special 2022 preview episode. We kind of wrapped things up last year with episode 44 and talked about how great things were then. But now we're moving forward.
They were great.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about what's going on this year and see if there's anything that's worth checking out. But it's an exciting new time, but it's been the first couple weeks of the year, and we've already got a lot of delays coming. So I'm hoping 2022 doesn't become the barren year where there's not actually any games to play. But
it's tradition. It's delay season. Everything just
everything,
all the things you're looking forward to, your dreams just get crushed over and over and over
everybody,
again.
All the developers get back to the office or working on stuff at home, and
exactly.
And like, you know what?
It's for real.
We're not going to make this. We're going to have to push this game out. So, so the format I think tonight we're going to go on. We're kind of change it up a little bit just because there's a lot of games that I kind of want to get to, and I think I'd like to hear your guys' maybe top 3 games, and then talk about mine as well of what's coming out this year. And then in between that, I'm going to kind of just list some stuff that I know is coming out based on a releases website. And then I want to talk about a few games that you guys just don't really, you're not excited for the next year that you know are coming out. And then maybe a few games that we know are supposed to come out but are just going to definitely get delayed. So I'll start us off with the number 3, and maybe we'll go around and just each talk about what our number 3 is, and then we'll kind of just pop it up and down here. So to get us started, this game actually comes out pretty soon, and my number 3 is the Pokemon Arceus game.
Hey.
Nice.
It kind of looks like trash. They've released a good amount of videos for this now. They had a pretty significant, I think it was like 12, 15-minute gameplay video of it, and it looks fun, but it just looks rough. So I'm a little nervous that the roughness might take it over and make this game not something I want to play, but I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Diamond recently, the remake, and I'm like 35 hours into that and kind of really into the Pokemon world again. So this comes out, I think, on the 28th, so we'll hopefully see if this is just a bunch of jank or if it's actually pretty fun. So, you guys excited for that at all?
I am. It reminds, like, when you talk about like it looks bad, it looks bad in the way that Sword and Shield looked bad or look bad. They're just not very. Yeah, they're just not very visually appealing games. Like it's like like if you look at like the open area in Sword and Shield with like a little bit too closely, you'll kind of see. Yeah, it's rough. No, but I am excited for this because it's like Pokemon really needs that like shot in the arm that like, hey, we're actually going to do something different this time.
It needs a spin-off
and
that's
Pokemon
not...
Snap doesn't count.
Yeah, that's okay. That's one of the mediocre ones I think are fun games. I think Pokemon just needs a game that is almost serious and like a not sarcastic spin-off, because a lot of the stuff they've had that are spin-offs have just been so bad. There's been a couple here and there that are not bad, but I don't know.
I wouldn't mind like a single-player RPG kind of Pokemon. I don't know how that would ever work.
That's kind of how I'm hoping this is supposed to be a little bit. I'm hoping there's some RPG elements to make this a little more adult-like, so a little bit more in-depth instead of so childish and simple, but I don't know. All right, Zahi, what about your number 3?
I think, oh man, I would think my number 3 is either Horizon Forbidden West or Starfield.
Okay.
Just because I'm really excited for both, and I want to play Forbidden West on the PS5, but I'm really like also excited for Starfield as like the next Bethesda IP for me. So, but it's kind of in my third spot because I like still don't know anything about it.
Starfield's a big mystery. Like
exactly.
No one knows anything about it.
In terms of like mystery and hypes, Starfield is probably my number 1. But in terms of like, what is this game like about? I'm like kind of still waiting. So I think those are taking my third spot because I definitely have 1 and 2 locked down. But
that's fair.
Yeah, but I don't know. What are you guys feeling for Starfield? If it's in your top three, maybe you want to talk about it after. Or...
Uh,
I,
it's
I
not in mine. It's kind of one of those games that it might be, but all we've seen
Yeah,
so far is person sitting in a cockpit and there's a
it's all
countdown.
been
Like that's
just a
all.
trailer.
It's
Just a trailer. Like I
be
have
a
no gameplay.
be a racing game for all we know. Like I have no
I don't.
idea.
I
Like
don't even
it's
have a. I don't even have a story trailer. Like I don't know what's going on. You know?
I think it's going to be one of the games we're going to talk about in a little bit here. That's going to be the hey, we're probably going to see this delayed anyways because I feel like
Yeah.
I think the release date they have right now, and they've mentioned it's a tentative release date is 11/11/22, following the same
Yep.
same date as Skyrim came out on 11/11, and it sounds like they might be a little bit ambitious with that, especially because Todd Howard even came out and said like, well, just let you know this is the tentative date. You're not gonna say too much about it, and we're gonna just stick with this for now, but just be willing to work with us because it may not be feasible for us to actually ship it by then. So, but like you said, there's not been anything shown on this game yet, other than like a couple
Yeah.
videos and CG stuff. So
I'm like exactly. So I'm like the hype and the mystery very high.
yes,
But like I don't think it's. But after things like Halo's release being like postponed and Cyberpunk release after all the hype. And you know what? Cyberpunk was one of the games I really like hyped into. I was like, I don't care. This is going to be amazing at launch. I'm kind of like taking a half step back from
I
Starfield.
think everybody's learning from that. I think everybody did the
Yeah,
same thing you just said. They got hyped for that, and the amount of disappointment it had just destroyed that game. And I think these other
yeah,
studios are scared of that now because they just saw how a huge
right.
developer can get just crumbled to pieces by one game release coming out poorly. So I think a lot of these delays and stuff are probably them just following like, hey, we gotta take care of the game now because we can't release it so broken. People just will hate you.
Yep.
So that's my money's on a delay in this game. That's what I'm saying. But I am super excited for it. Alex, what's your number three?
my number three is sequel to a game that I really, really liked a few years ago. I think it came out in 2019. It's
Ooh.
uh, the Somnium Files, and this is going to be the second one, the Nirvana Initiative.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked the first one. I thought it's one of those games that like flies under the radar for a lot of people because it's like, what the frig is
I'm
the Somnium
playing it
Files?
on Game Pass. It's so good.
It is good, right?
I have it on Switch. I still haven't played it.
Oh, you gotta play
Yeah.
it. It's really good. For folks listening who might not know what it is, it's kind of like uh, a murder mystery visual novel. So you are going to
Playing
like
it because you told me about it.
Yeah, same. I bought it because you said to buy it.
Good. I'm very persuasive. But yeah, like so the sequel's coming out. Sequel's coming out in June, I think, and it looks like it's just it's more. It's just more like it's more of these characters, more of this world, and more of this kind of like the style of game. So I'm super hyped for that. It's made by I think the right. I didn't research this ahead of time. I could be wrong about this, but the writer or like the director is the same guy who did like the Zero Escape series. So those are really popular if you're into like that kind of like darker kind of side of like history, I guess. But yeah, I really like the first one. It's one of my like hidden gem favorites of this generation, and like the sequel's coming out, and I got the big collector's edition pre-ordered because I was like, I love this too much. I gotta get it. So yeah, like my number three, it's just more of a game we already know about, but yeah, I'm super excited for that one.
Okay, nice.
Does this? I haven't seen much of the sequel because I'm trying not to be spoiled. But does the sequel look like it's kind of like AI 1.5, or does it really look like a true kind of?
At least 10 years in the future is when it takes
Okay.
place. One of the characters is grown up now.
What's the release date of that? Did you say that?
In June or July, I think.
June or July. Okay, so summer game.
Yeah.
All right, I have until then to try to finish the other one then.
It's good. I might actually I just talking about it. I'm like, I might just go play through it again just to kind of get like caught up.
How many hours is that? Is like a playthrough?
like 30.
Oh
Not
my
bad.
god, it's a long game.
It especially on Switch. It's like as a visual novel, it's like you just take it to bed and just
That's why I kind
of
of like having it on Switch right now because I have it installed and ready to play, just haven't played it because I keep playing old stupid games instead. Okay, that's a good number 2. So, sorry, where's your number 3?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling through the list trying to find the right date. Today's the 16th. I can't believe it's already the 16th.
No.
Okay, so let's go through the number 2s. My number 2 I have as Horizon Forbidden West. I know, Zahi, you kind of mentioned that with your number 3. I was kind of
Yes,
between,
please. I'm glad you're going back to it.
yeah, I was kind of in between, like Dying Light 2 I'm a little bit excited for, but I almost feel like that I almost feel like it could get delayed. I don't know why, but everyone kept saying that game's going right. It seems like that game's always had such bad news, and the fact that it's supposed to be coming out now, I don't know, like, is this a trick? Like, is this game going to come out and then it's going to be terrible or what? But
I think Dying Light 2 is like they're at that point now where they're like talking about like post-release content. I think it's like
I guess I
For
don't
real?
know. I think the name just Dying Light 2 just in my head just means delay, but we'll see. But I'm excited for both of those. But I think Horizon is probably the one that's edged out a little more because I feel like to finally have like a true PS5 like native Sony title that's like this is what we got to show you finally. This is why you bought this system. So I think that's probably my number 2 that I'm most excited for this year.
And that game's coming. Horizon 2 comes out soon.
February.
Yeah,
Very
right?
soon.
I think it's March, February.
Maybe it is March. I'm
Yeah,
looking
wait,
it up right now.
Is it just me or like does it feel like we also don't know very much about it?
No, we don't. I feel
No,
like
not at
we've
all.
seen some gameplay and stuff, but it wasn't anything all that different from the first one, to be honest.
Yeah. That was the game though that like when they first showed it at like the PS5 reveal event, they showed
That was the real
Aloy
highlight.
swimming and like
Mhm.
all like
Yeah.
in the coral and the reef and everything, and I was like, that's next gen. Like that looks next gen. Um,
I
that's
think out of
that's a good
actually
game to be
all the
hyped for.
games coming out, Horizon feels. Is Horizon going to be cross-platform?
I think it is. I think it's PS4 and PS5. I think they changed. I think it was originally PS5 only, but I think a little bit after they announced it, they kind of changed their minds.
Whatever.
Yeah, February 18th is the release date right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
soon.
right up next to Elden Ring. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that's ambitious.
Yeah, Elden Ring
That
is the
is-
25th, and then Dying Light 2 is February 4th. Shoot, Dying Light is in like 2 weeks.
A couple weeks.
I need to go
yeah,
finish the first
kinda
one.
weird.
Shit.
So like we're not going to work for the month of February, are we?
Yeah,
We're
I
just
got
gonna
some
stay
shit
at home,
I don't feel like
you know?
you haven't heard my number 3 yet, and that's why I'm be
I mean number 1, but we got it. All right, so Zahi, what's your number 2?
our number 2 slot for me, and actually both my games are coming out in February. So I know this is kind of cheating, but does an expansion count? A big one?
I think so.
I'd allow it.
Deal. Then I would say
Very fun.
I like having. I'll allow it. Like I feel like I'm in a judge position. Yes, auction. I'm really excited for Destiny 2: The Witch Queen. So the past year of Destiny 2 has. I know you say it like every year, but it has been solid. Community wise, story and gameplay wise, the game has actually skyrocketed. In the past, but right now, currently, because the Witch Queen was supposed to launch last September, but because of COVID and delays and everything else in the universe, they are actually pushing it to February 22nd, 2022, which also falls on a Tuesday. Everyone, it's just a weird thing, but and I'm really excited for it, mainly because just the past 4 seasons of story content have just been like out of the park. In terms of like what is good for Destiny, and the changes to like gameplay and variety in the past year have been just stellar.
Bless you.
Fans, I'm
Bless you.
dealing with sniffles. Thank you. I'm actually really excited for it. And the plot right now, it's focusing on one of the, or at least where the main antagonist is. I'm really rooting for her to just absolutely be like a tyrant. She's the sister of one of the main enemies in the first Destiny, and she's like the goddess of like trickery and mischief. She's basically like Loki but serious. And it's a real good time because they do like a lot of like the whole year is like where has she been? Who has she been? So it's kind of like this whole mystery vibe element to her, which is really kind of like she's just not overpowered or OP, but she is. But it's more so about like her being deceptive and it's about trickery. So the whole story has been very like, where's it going? Because you can't trust anything. So I'm really excited for that. It's a good time.
As a non-Destiny player, I have heard in the last like few months, I've heard nothing but just hype and excitement and just like you said, like the Destiny community feels alive right now. Like
oh man, the Destiny
like
community right now feels finally like the last year since the release of Beyond Light. Actually, not last year in 2020, since the release of Beyond Light, Bungie really stepped up like the story department, and Destiny 2 right now just feels like really whole. Like I can see a structure and a frame, and wherever they're taking it, it's going really good. Like all the antagonists are like written better than the main characters, but not really. They're just really good. The motivations of like your allies, it's really good. Like I think going into the 7th year of Destiny, the all the characters and the set pieces are really where everything should have been from the beginning, and it feels like it's just taking off, so it's nice because like the world's established, the characters are all on their quests and journeys, and everything is kind of coming to like this breakneck point right now where the story is just about to crash. And I know I'm ranting about Destiny, but it's really good. I'm really excited.
How long since the last expansion has it been?
So they used to do, and especially under the Activision period of Bungie's life, which was terrible, yearly expansions.
Okay.
But the Beyond Light expansion, which released in September 2020, was like a real big passion project, and they put a lot into it. And that's lasted from 2020 September till now. But they were going to release The Witch Queen last September as well. But they're like, we're actually going to delay the last season and put a few more like activities to keep you guys going. So it hasn't been very like, how should I say? It's been more of like, okay, we've extended the last season, so if there's anything you guys needed to do it like now, Mm-hmm. So everyone's just finishing up. Like there's nothing really like story wise that's heavy right now until we get like really close to the Witch Queen, because they took like a mid-season break, and the next couple of weeks are going to pick the story back up for the launch. So it's been since. So this is the first time they've done an expansion a year and a half later rather than a standard year. So there's a bit more, how should I say, like expectation going into it. It's meant because of the delay. They're saying it's not going to be, or they're saying because of the delay, it's going to be bigger than what it would have been back in September and a bit more. So as players, as community, if you're like, yo, I'm going to launch this later, but it's going to be better than what it would have been in September, and there's going to be more stuff. You know what? We're being transparent, and that's kind of honest and open, so I'll take your word for it. And if it sucks in February, I'm going to call you out on it. So,
call you out.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So my expectations are pretty good. A lot of the Destiny community, it's really good. I'm looking forward to it. The Witch Queen looks mysterious and spooky, and the trailers look kind of like dark, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be like a really dark year narratively. That's what kind of they're going with. So the Witch Queen, pick for number 2. Sorry for the rant. I'm really excited.
No, that's
good pick. Alex, what do you got for number 2?
So my number 2 is kind of like Zai, where that's your big multiplayer game. You get together and you guys.
Mm-hmm.
My big multiplayer game that I'm super excited for is Splatoon 3,
So
which
big.
uh, comes out 2022. Don't know when. It's kind of like a mystery. But yeah, like I've put hundreds and hundreds of hours into the first two games. I absolutely love them. And like with Splatoon 3, there's like this air of mystery. Like the Splatfest, so the fights, the main mode, I guess. It kind of looks like it's the same with like with new weapons and new like specials and things like that. But then, when they showed the little bit they showed of the single player, it looks more open, more like an adventure game, and I'm really excited for that. Like if it's going to be like if it's going to change what Splatoon is from a single player point of view, where before it was just kind of like challenge levels that got you kind of prepared for anything you might run into online. With three, it might be more of just like, no, we're actually building a game, like a story mode into the Splatoon universe, which I think will be fun. But just an excuse to like, with Splatoon 2, Nintendo kind of like pulled the plug out from the community pretty fast. Like it wasn't very long into that game's life where they were like, we're done. We're
long.
Yeah, and it sold like really, really well. So there was a lot of players that were just kind of like, "So I'll go play Smash Brothers now." Like there's not much left here for Splatoon. But with three, it's like I'm looking forward to that like kind of like breath of fresh air. So like, because like if you go online and you'll get games in Splatoon 2, no problem. But it's
Right.
not every mode has a very big population right now. Some maps like whenever because it's a map rotation. So whenever some maps are in rotation, everyone plays. Whenever some maps that people like less are in rotation, no one plays. It's kind of hard to like get like a good like kind of flow going. You're just kind of like doing the same thing over and over again. I'm just excited to get back into it. Yeah, Splatoon is always a fun time, so I'm just really looking forward to that one.
Okay. I keep forgetting Splatoon's even coming out. It seems like a game that
No,
they mentioned for a
I
little bit and
only
they kind of just haven't talked about it too much.
I only know because of how hyped Alex is for it. And I'm curious, like, I love when those kind of like multiplayer focused games take a plunge and try to do some like single player stuff. And you're like, what is this even going to look like or going to be? So, well, I may not be like the biggest Splatoon aficionado or player. I like that they're kind of doing something like that. Apex Legends that did something similar, but just for like one season. Um, sort of. Well, they had it's primarily a multiplayer game, not free though.
Hmm.
I mean, well, it's free compared to Splatoon, but they did for like a season or two some like light single player stuff. So to see a full blown multiplayer game take like a different approach sounds really interesting.
Like I don't know, like the last Splatoon, I felt like it was a really great game that just needed a few extra pieces to it to make it like a timeless masterpiece. So I'm like, this could be it. This could be the thing that just kind of makes it like um stick around for a while because it's the third game already since Splatoon 1 was what 2015. So it's the third game since 2015 and
Crazy.
they just keep pulling the rug out really early on these games. I mean, the first one was on Wii U. It was kind of it's what it was always going to be that way. But yeah, I kind of hope that this one is the one where they're like we have a massive amount of people playing, just keep it going and do like I would love it to do like something like Destiny where they're like, we've got expansions coming and they're like, we're going to keep us alive for a long time. Like even, or if they did like Smash Brothers even where they're like, you know what, we've got 2 years worth of DLC planned and it's coming and
But it almost seems
like
like
just
they don't care about anything else but Smash Brothers. I feel like any of the other Nintendo first party stuff, they die out so quick. Like that Arms game, like
Arms,
What
yeah,
happened
Arms.
to
it,
Arms?
it died. They just gave up. They don't continue to support it. They don't. That's it. It's over. Splatoon 2, it just I feel like it kind of the first one didn't last very long. 2 lasted a little bit longer, but that's kind of ish dead now. I
Yeah.
mean, they
You
still
got
they did
you
that
got a
what
paid
pop-up event or
expansion.
something.
Yeah, they did a random event at I think around New Year's, but then two got a paid expansion, which was really good. Like the Octo expansion was really good.
But
Um,
what other Nintendo first party game you can think of that they're constantly supporting still, like other than Smash Brothers? Like that's basically it.
I'd want to say Mario Golf and Tennis a little bit because I know they do like monthly
Okay,
events for those, but like
I guess that's something. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think they have something. they have a really good competitive game on their hands, and they just tend to shy away by not really supporting it for too long, because this should be a game that you could be able to keep putting updates as soon as you get the game. Just keep making updates for years and years. Look at like Rainbow Six Siege. Like that game's been around forever. They just keep new seasons, it's Fortnite, new seasons, and all this. All these games do the same shit, and it's great. But Nintendo, like, they just
even Animal Crossing, they
they're like, oh, we're done.
Kicking and
like,
screaming.
You literally could just keep putting out little stupid items here, and people would go nuts over it. But instead, they just stop. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. Just
go by the beat of their own drum. Like they just. I don't know how they figured. Yeah.
Way too much, but well, it is what it is. All right, let's move on to number ones, and I will kick us off here. And as you guys might guess, after my just consistent going back and forth about how great this game was last year, my number one game I'm most excited for is Elix 2, because this is like, I know this game's going to be a little jank still. It's not like all of a sudden, they have a sequel, the game's going to be way better. But I just really enjoyed being in the world of Elix, the first one, and it was totally different. And it gave me that feeling like I used to have when I was younger, where I'd go to a game store, I picked up a game, I had no idea what it was because I didn't sit and research stuff. And that's exactly what I did. I went to a game store, bought this game called Elix for the Xbox for $9. Was like, this game looks cool in the case, and that was it. So I ended up falling in love with it. As you guys know, I talk about Elix all the time in every episode and how you all should play it. But the second one is pretty badass. They just released a combat trailer for the new combat, and it looks pretty good. It's still not like, top tier combat like, games we'd be used to for AAA titles, but it looks pretty good. It's way better than the janky fighting system that was in the first one that was barely passable. So overall, I'm just excited. It's a cool series, cool story, cool world, and they put a lot of love into all their games. So, have you guys?
Can you briefly tell me what the story of Elix is?
Oh,
because
gladly.
I understand. From what I understand, it's 3 competing factions.
Yeah.
Or at least 3. Maybe they're just 3 distinct faction groups.
Yep. So
for what reason?
So okay, so the real quick synopsis of it is, and I might be screwing some of this up because it's not always the most clear lore-wise, but there was a comet or something that came and hit this planet, and in this comet, meteor, whatever it is, was this resource that is known as Elix, right? And it's basically like, it kind of looks like crystal shards or something, and it has a power source to it. A bunch of people died when this thing hit the planet, and everyone kind of got scattered, and then this Elix was kind of shot throughout the world, right? You can kind of find it everywhere now because it was such a huge meteor. And each of these 3 factions, they use it differently. So, and they have different beliefs and whatnot, because it's basically like Game of Thrones world is one faction, sci-fi Star Trek type people is one faction, and then Mad Max like druggies is another one, right? And each of the 3 factions use that Elix differently. The Game of Thrones people, they take it, they basically melt it down, and they make mana, and they use magic, and that's kind of like their big thing. They have all these magic powers and stuff. The sci-fi, like Star Trek people, they use it in machines and robots and weapons, and that's how they use Elix. And then the Mad Max people, they break it down and turn it into like stimulants and drugs and stuff, and they get addicted to it. So that's like the main thing. And then there's a 4th group that is kind of up and coming within the story of the first one, and these are these people that just eat it, and they become basically like, they look like aliens, and they're called albs, and they're using the power just to absorb it by eating it, and it takes over their body because it's so strong, and that's kind of the whole game. So the second one kind of plays off that a little bit more. There's actually a new faction that's being added to it, and I don't know much about that other than the quick trailer they put out, but I'm pretty excited.
Are they? Oh yeah, go on.
Oh no, go on.
So is basically the whole crux of the game is these factions are trying to compete for the Elix, or for who can get the most Elix?
Kind of, sort of. That's kind of how the game starts off in the first one, and then depending on the choices you make, because you end up joining a faction and kind of run up the ranks through the faction, it kind of all depends on that. So.
Are any like objectively good or evil, or are they kind of
No, I
all
mean you
like?
can choose like a good or evil path, but it's kind of perspectively based. Like there's gonna be challenges is like pick one of two evils, and it's like you don't really have a choice. You kind of have to pick something. So it's a
Okay.
okay good and bad system, but it's not like perfect. So if anything, before Elix 2 comes out, you guys should at least try Elix 1 because it is just a good time. Like it's a fun game and it's pretty dang cheap and it runs great on Xbox One X. So you don't even like it still runs at 60 frames on there at like 4K. Not even like the new gen systems. So
Hmm.
or on PC, it's pretty cheap on there usually. So yeah, that's my number one. I'm pretty excited. Um,
Nice.
Zahi, what do we got for number one over there?
Okay, so I feel like everyone already knows what this is, but I'm still gonna go for it anyways. I'm really excited for Elden Ring. Like,
I'm shocked.
yep. Well, I know it was a surprise, guys. Here it is. I knew you wouldn't have seen it coming. Hello in the chat saying King of Fighters 15 and EA Skate 4, and I'm like, I didn't genuinely even see those coming. I'm pretty down for either of those. But no, it's got to be uh, Elden Ring. You know what? I haven't
Shocker.
seen a shocker. I haven't seen a lot for Elden Ring 2 because I am doing my best to stay extremely away from spoilers for this game. That's part of the whole fun thing for From Software games. So I'm really excited for this one. It the thing though, I have some like complaints. I really dislike the fact that it's cross-platform. Then again, whatever. It on PS5 and or on Series X, it still looks amazing, and I think I'm gonna get it on PS5 because I've kind of turned my PS5 into like my single player, really focused, story driven games, and the Xbox more for like my RPG games, like my fun little ones. Uh, so on PS5, I'm really looking forward to Elden Ring. And graphically, what I've seen from it, it's just amazing. It looks stunning, even if it is cross-platform. However, still looks a little, I don't know, dated. I feel like I feel like Demon Souls on launch on PS5 was
Yeah, that definitely
better
looks
looking.
more next gen than what I've seen with Elden Ring.
Thank you,
It's almost
thank
a
you.
little like
Yeah, right.
surprising that it is like that because I feel like shouldn't this be like you've been working on this for years and years and this should be your big thing here? Why does it still look like a PS4 game?
Thank you.
So
Yes,
it's a
exactly.
little
So
odd.
I'm a little odd, right? A little odd. So I'm kind of in the spectator seat right now for visuals, but I'm playing it mostly for the gameplay and for the good story that naturally comes with most From Software games.
Hmm.
Um, was really lucky and I got a chance to review their past two games for the channel. So I got to do Demon Souls, which was a fantastic visual and technically impressive game that Bluepoint did some extra work on and really gave it some better shine. And Sekiro, 2019's, what's it, 2019 Sekiro? Yeah, it was
Hmm.
for From Software. Um, and while Sekiro is the actual From Software game, going back and replaying Demon Souls in that 4K 60 frames per second, how it could have looked 10 years ago, you know what? If Demon Souls was launched today, by From Software exclusively, it would have been incredible to just see it. So the their past quote unquote two games, I'm really excited for what Elden Ring can bring. So I'm trying not to really delve too much into the story and kind of spoil those surprises. Like this is one of those games where I really want to go in kind of blind, and and From Software games are community games. You know, everyone goes online, looks up tutorials because they're like sometimes a bit weird and random. And you know what? An open-ish world From Software game with J.R. Martin, or yeah, George R. R. Martin. That's kind of a set piece I'd like to pop into.
I'm interested to see that game. I want to know like what's the actual basically difficulty, because you know how I feel about Dark Souls
Yeah,
games.
I was. You know what?
I don't want
Yeah.
that to be the the thing that keeps me away from playing it, because the world seems cool and
Again, yes.
yeah, like the imagination behind this great author and who's wonderful at everything he creates and produces, and you're gonna make the requirement to basically indulge yourself in that world is you have a high skill level for these type of games. So I'm curious to see how they handle that. I understand that this game is supposed to be kind of like those games, but you're mixing in one thing. It's like a very popular author that everybody loves to read books and his content, and now a game series that's notoriously just difficult. Like, is that going to make a happy? I feel like you're going to discourage people that are going to try. There's going to be players that don't know much about Dark Souls, but only know about George R.R. Martin, and they're going to try to play that, and they're initially just going to be turned off if they can't play games like that. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see how that pans out.
The From Software games.
Yeah,
they definitely take a lot of. They're definitely a high skill ceiling gap. And it's not like for everyone to jump into.
Right, but I wonder how many people. Sorry, I keep interrupting you here. But I wonder how many people.
No,
like
no,
what you're saying
I wonder
exactly.
how it's going to happen.
Yeah, how like let's say Alex, since you're here, we're gonna use you as an example. You know, Alex here loves Game of Thrones, and he just loves all the work by George R.R. Martin. But you're not even a huge gamer. You play your Madden and Call of Duty every year, but you want to get involved with this because this is like Game of Thrones to you, right? And you pick this game up, and you have no idea what Dark Souls is, or even know that that type of game exists, and you play it for an hour and you get nowhere. You're gonna have a bad impression of this game and probably go online and give a bad review right off the bat. You know what I mean?
I get the feeling I would feel left out. Like there's something that's inaccessible to me because I don't have the, like you say, the skills to put into it.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's how video games work. Like let's be real.
I feel that
they're not typically tied to an author that has broad appeal, right? So it is like you look at games like Harry Potter games, which I know are like, you don't need a very high skill level. Star Wars games, I'll use that as an example. Like you typically don't need a very high skill level to experience them because they realize that Star Wars is going, or Harry Potter, or whatever these multimedia franchises are going to pull in a lot of different people. That being said, I do feel like the George R.R. Martin connection. This is just my personal opinion. I've actually never read a Game of Thrones book or watched a minute of Game of Thrones. I don't know anything about it other than it exists.
So you're the other you're the only play Dark Souls guy.
I've only played the Dark Souls 1, so I'm not.
So you're just
big
nobody.
I'm a nobody.
Alex is
Alex
to Elden Ring,
nobody.
just like I don't know Dark Souls. I don't know George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, no, they don't mean well. It's my speed so far, but what was the point I was going to make? It's the best point I've ever made in my life.
You forgot.
I knew it.
Got it. I forgot it.
Would you play Elden Ring even if it was difficult? Like, would it be something you'd grind into?
I'm a gamer. I would play it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but if I was just like, oh, I love George R.R. Martin, I feel like I'd be intimidated by a controller. Like if I wasn't a gamer before, right? So, it's hard. I think it's kind of like I don't think it'll be as accessible as people want it to be. That's my thought on it. Again, I am coming from a point of ignorance on that because I don't really follow either. But I did hear though, and this is total non sequitur. Did you guys hear the leak? And it's like practically a confirmed leak of what From Software's next game is.
No, what's that?
Armored Core 5.
Yes, actually, yeah, I totally saw that. Yes. Now
Focus
that I'm so prepped for. I
am pumped for Armored Core. But yeah, like screenshots and everything leaked out. Anyway, you guys kept saying From Software, and I was like, the only thing I was like, I knew I could contribute to the conversation was I saw that Armored Core 5 leaked.
Man, I would play some Armored Core. You know what this world needs right now? Legit, some like Armored Core. You just need that like space suit Gundam kind of aesthetic in games right now. I feel like if we had like a decent Gundam game, or oh god, what was Miyazaki's game? the space shooter robot one. God, I can't remember it. Not
Nope.
Miyazaki. I meant Kojima.
Kojima. It was one of the enders.
Thank you. I would really like to live in a world right now where like fighting robots are a staple game. I'm pumped for Armored Core.
I completely derailed your conversation on Elden Ring.
No, no.
With Armored Core 5.
It's still from software, and I'm actually still pretty hot. I could do Armored Core and I could do Elden Ring, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of competition during Elden Ring's release, like a lot. February is the month of not doing work and just playing video games, I feel, because what you have along with Horizon, you have Dying Light, Destiny 2, King of Fighters. Oh man, I didn't even know King of Fighters was Warhammer 3. Man, what is up with February?
Total War.
Elden Ring. Total War.
Well, hold that there, so I'm gonna go through each of these months that we have everything said. So let's jump to Alex and go ahead and give us your last, and then we'll go right back to what you're doing.
I'm a nobody and I'm last. Wow.
Well, we saved the best for last. You're the spotlight for tonight. We're just your opening.
You are the spotlight.
Yeah. All right. So the game I'm most excited for in 2022 is one that I feel like it was a little pointed when you said we're going to talk about the games that we think are going to get delayed. Everyone on Earth, every single person in the universe thinks this game is going to get delayed, and I'm convinced it's not.
It is.
I am 100% certain that Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out in 2022.
No, it's not.
It is 100% going to launch this year. I have good reason. I'm not just saying that as like hype.
When?
What's the good reason? Because you just want to play it.
And I want to hear the good reason.
Because I want to play it. So Breath of the Wild 2 started development. Like, this is Nintendo's word, not mine, but like it started development in 2017. So that was about 5 years ago. As soon as Breath of the Wild 1 wrapped up, they started Breath of the Wild 2. They don't have to create a new engine. They're using the same engine as Breath of the Wild 1. They don't have to create new assets. They're using the same assets as Breath of the Wild 1. They are using it's like kind of like how Majora's Mask was built off of Ocarina of Time. They're reusing a lot of the assets and repurposing it for this game. Breath of the Wild 1 had a 4-year development cycle. So I see all these people, there's no way it's coming out. So this Breath of the Wild 2 has a longer development time, and they have a leg up by having done all the asset work already. Like, obviously there's going to be new things in the game, but like a lot of what has already been done is already there. And everyone and their cat and their dog and their parrots are saying the same thing. This game will be delayed. Every single person is saying this game is going to get delayed.
Be delayed.
So I want to argue against it though, because the 4-year cycle was fine. But what did we have over the last couple of years, and that Breath of the Wild original didn't have? The global pandemic. So
yes.
What if they're behind? That could be bad.
No, you're right. That's the great unknown. Is obviously not every company is coming out and saying, "Oh, the pandemic delayed us by X amount of time." The Zelda team though hasn't done anything else. Only done
Age of Calamity.
No, that was Koei Tecmo. The Zelda team has only been working on Breath of the Wild. I still, like, even with, not to diminish a pandemic, but even with the pandemic, I still feel like they're going to get this game out this year. There was that interview with IGN where they were kind of like, we're really excited for this, which obviously, why wouldn't they say they're excited for this year? But you look at what Nintendo's got. They won't have Pokemon this holiday because they've just launched 2 new Pokemon games.
Yeah.
There's been no word on a new Mario game, so Animal Crossing's already out. So what's their other tentpole? It's Zelda.
If I may, I heard they were doing a new Mario Party or Mario Kart game.
Yeah,
Mario
maybe it's in development.
Yeah. Mario Kart could be a thing.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be releasing this year. To your credit.
Don't know. It's Mario Kart. If there is a new Mario Kart, I think it'll kind of be like what Breath of the Wild 1 was, where it was like it's coming out on Switch and next gen. Nintendo next gen is starting to be a thing that we need to think about at some point. Oh, because the Switch is 5 years. The Switch will be 5 in 2 months.
That's crazy.
And they're,
I can't believe I only got it into year 4.
Yeah, you're new to it. You, it's brand new and shiny.
Yeah.
And for me,
For
I'm
me,
like,
it
oh,
really
these
is
games.
brand new and shiny. You know what? The
Games are,
OLED has like I'm really enjoying the OLED so far. And once my exams are over, I am going to be borrowing you, Alex, for a playthrough of Ocarina, and you too, Kevin, of course. But like, I am playing a Zelda game this year. I don't care. Maybe I'm playing 2. You know what? I
will
might.
because Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year.
No, then I'll be playing 3 because I want to play
will.
Breath of the Wild 1.
Yeah, play that one first. But
Yeah.
It fits in so nicely in how Nintendo's
Development
kind of
cycle?
cycle would go. Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
just Zelda team, which is Ayanuma's team, hasn't put out anything since Breath of the Wild 1. Actually, no, that's not true. They did Skyward Sword HD. I take that back. They did do Skyward Sword HD, but that is an enhanced port of an older game, which Breath of the Wild 2 is older. Quite older, yeah, a Wii game. So I'm convinced. I'm convinced it's coming out this year. I'm convinced that Bayonetta 2 or 3 is another game that's coming out this year that a lot of people are like,
I don't know. You know,
that game's been in development just as long as Breath of the Wild.
That's gotta be coming out soon.
What was Platinum's last game? Like, was it? What's it called? Astral Chain? Oh.
Well, there's Astral Chain, and then there's going to be the one that looked really.
I thought it was Nier.
Oh, Nier came out before. One that's coming out next year that looks really bad. That we did, Babylon's Fall.
Oh yeah, that game.
What's up with that?
I kind of forgot about that game.
Oh no, I'm so like invested in that game because of how bad it is. I would love to play it. I'm like, this is the game for me. This is my yearly Outriders kind of game.
Jeez.
I just want to play something.
So
I have one more point to make that really sells my point on why I think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year.
Because you got a tattoo that says releasing 2022, and it looks.
It got a tattoo. It's got to say it
on his
right
on the rear.
Right, yeah, just spanning both cheeks now. Oh my god, we're all our viewers are gone.
We got some new ones.
Some new ones though.
Last year was Zelda's 35th anniversary, and they didn't have a big game release for it. And I think that's your pandemic delay, is that they didn't get Breath of the Wild 2 for the anniversary, the 35th anniversary.
So they're going to just celebrate the 36th?
Oh yeah, they just move it to the next year without making a big deal out of it, right?
Guess who's been around for 36 years, guys? Oh, jeez. Okay, I mean, I could see it. The pandemic definitely could have thrown things off to a point where it did something like that. So, I don't know.
Can I just ask one small question?
Sure.
I really like Zelda lore, even though like I've never played a game about it. Is Breath of the Wild in the super duper duper far future? Yeah, it's like the furthest Zelda in the future, right?
Yes. So they kind of did like what Star Wars did but in reverse. So you know how Knights of the Old Republic takes place so far in the past that we can do whatever the heck we want and nothing matters.
Exactly. Yes.
Kind of the same idea, but in the future.
Yeah, that's what it's
so far in the future that we can do whatever the heck we want.
Yeah, because each of the timelines, it doesn't matter because all of them feasible at Breath of the Wild.
I mean, the Zelda timeline is. Don't put a lot of energy into trying to figure out.
All right, I'm saving us here. We're gonna move this train along because this Zelda timeline is where we start to lose people because that is a mess. So the last part of the show, we're getting a little long here. I'm gonna kind of just scroll through some stuff on the releases.com calendar. I'm gonna shoot some things out and just jump in and say, hey, I'm looking forward to this. Hey, no, I'm not. And then at the same time, I want to be like looking at some of these. And if you think this is a game that's not coming out and it has a concrete release date that I'm talking about, jump in and just say, yeah, hell no, that's not happening. So I'm going to start with this month because there's not that many games that have a dated release for 2022 so far. There's not
January's been quiet.
January is kind of quiet. The only like big ones left for this month a Rainbow Six Extraction, which I'm
Oh my god.
kind of excited for because it's coming to Game Pass. That was one of the only things
Exactly.
that,
Yes.
like,
Exactly.
yeah. If it wasn't, I would have just been
Kevin.
like, no, it's okay. But being a Game Pass title, that's intriguing because now I can play it and I don't have to
Yeah.
waste any money if it's not good.
Exactly. And so yeah, I'm excited for that game because of how terrible it looks. I want to play that game.
I want it to be good.
Roast it
I want
so
it to be
bad.
good.
I
but
don't.
I
don't.
don't think it's going to
I
be.
want it to be terrible. I want.
You're such a naysayer
I genuinely. I genuinely want Extraction to be this hot pile of garbage that I play, just so I can give it a bad review.
Well, that's rounding out towards the end of the month. The last two things, obviously, are Pokemon Arceus, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Arceus, however you say it. So we talked about that. That's coming out on the 28th.
Arceus?
What's that?
Arceus?
Arceus?
I've always thought it was a song.
I don't know.
I literally don't know either. I've heard so many people say it different ways in podcasts and videos, so
yeah,
I'm not sure what it is.
I always thought it was a soft C.
Also, that's just a fun fact. The Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection is coming out, which I believe is 4 games. I think it's 1, 2, and 3, and the I think it includes that other spin-off one with the 2 chicks. So that comes out.
One of my best,
PS5. So that looks pretty good, but I've already played them, so no reason.
One of my best friends just played Uncharted 4 for the first time as her first Uncharted game, and she's like, she played it on easy mode. She's so cute. But she's like, it was such a good game. I actually want to go back and play the rest of them. Good for you, because they're all coming out soon.
Yeah. They were pretty rough ahead of time because our good friend of the show, Jeff, he played 4. It's his first Uncharted game and loved it. And then I told him to go back and play through the original, and he's like, I can't go back. They're pretty bad. So maybe this will convince him to go back and play, because I kept telling him he loves to jump in on the new shiny and then wants to go back and then always hates it. So I'm always like, Jeff, start at the crappy old version and work your way up, so then it just gets better as you play. Instead, he always starts with the best one, and then he wants to go back, and it's so hard when you've gotten used to it.
That's not how games work, man.
No,
it's not how, like, games are not better earlier.
That's a big reason why I'm always so behind on the new and shiny, is because if something does come out and I'm like, oh, that looks really interesting, I better go play the last 30 years of games in this series. So
and this is
Alex,
a good example.
You're my role model.
Right here, February 4th is Dying Light 2 is coming out, and I
haven't
want to finish
Dying Light 1.
Get on it.
Me too.
It's on Switch too now, so you can even play it in bed. But I need to finish that before I play 2, because I'll never go back to finish the first one, because I know the systems in 2 are just going to make the game overall nicer. And that's 2 weeks away, so I better get my ass in gear here. Then February 11th, Lost Ark is coming, which I believe is the South Korean... I think it's South Korean.
But not North Korean.
It's definitely not North Korean. I think it's South Korean group or Japanese, one of the two. Pretty sure it's South Korean. The ARPG that people are loving. So that's going to be a pretty big game, I think. Then a couple days after that, on February 17th, Total War Warhammer 3, which...
Heck yeah.
People love this series. I have a buddy who's been talking about it with me all week. He just downloaded the second one again. He's playing through that just to get pumped for the third one. So that's something to keep an eye out for. King of Fighters is coming out. King of Fighters 15.
Hey.
I know we were talking about that in the chat. Something that I
like fighting games, so I'm actually I didn't know. I remember seeing a trailer of it, I think at the Game Awards, and I kind of passed my mind, but
that's
I'm not
4 weeks away.
Yeah, I played a lot of fighting games, a lot of 2D fighting games. Technically now 3D, but I'm kind of happy there's a new King of Fighters. There hasn't been like anything like fighterish in a while. If like Dragon Ball Z, and then
Guilty Gear Strive was the last one that the fighting game community really went to. But
yeah, Tekken 7 and they're like Street Fighter 5 are years ago. It's just I'm kind of happy there's a new King of Fighters, a nice big new fighter game.
That'll be out on the same day that game comes out with Warhammer is Assassin's Creed the Ezio collection, which is coming out on the Switch. So it'll be the first time the Switch gets the 3 Brotherhood or the Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood and Revelations, which is kind of nice. And then
those are good games.
Yeah, they are.
Those are good.
Those are really good.
Really good games.
One day after that, February 18th, will be Horizon Forbidden West, which we've talked about quite a bit tonight. And then
PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. Yeah.
Yep, and then another week after that, on the 22nd, would be Destiny 2: The Witch Queen, which we've also talked about. So that's gonna be.
I'm not gonna see you guys for a while on that one.
February is gonna be pretty jam packed. Like we haven't even gotten through the rest of the month, and that's already pretty big. So then forwarding a little bit more to the 25th, Elden Ring's release date, which. I think this comes to my first one that I think this might be delayed. This is my first
title.
Do
you think Elden Ring is going to be delayed?
I do. I really do. Maybe not by a lot, but I'm wondering if it's going to realize that February is just overwhelmed with games right now, and it's going to be too damn close to games like Horizon Forbidden West.
It already got delayed. It got delayed by 2 weeks.
Which one?
Or 2 or 3 weeks. Elden
Ring?
A few weeks ago.
So then I don't see why it wouldn't be delayed again if it's already been delayed. I just feel like
it's very strange for a From Software game to get delayed.
I don't want to disagree with you on it being delayed because of Horizon. Because Horizon is a PlayStation exclusive, and Elden Ring is coming out on everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like
what do you mean?
What will Xbox have? Like what they don't like. If you only have an Xbox, you're not getting Horizon, basically.
Right.
So
you need that Elden Ring?
It's just more like it's not competition.
Yeah.
Like if you only have PlayStation 5s have been fairly hard to find. I'm sure a lot of people are going to get Horizon for PS4 because of that. But it's funny. I don't disagree with you that I think it's possible that it gets another 2-3 week delay just to make sure that it's not another Cyberpunk and just really spitting on it and polishing it to make sure it's perfect. I don't think it'll be because of Horizon. I don't think it cares what it's up against. I think they don't want that to be a bad game.
I agree. I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. I could see it coming out, but I could also would not be surprised. So
because
we'll see what happens there at that.
You know what? I really don't think it's a good idea personally thinking of what's coming out in March, because Kev, you're going to go into it in a sec, but March also is stacked. February and March are heavy for games. Even when ooh, God,
yeah,
Kevin,
let's jump into March and see, because so March 1st we got Elix 2 dated, which we kind of talked about, and that was a big game. Babylon's Fall comes out March 3rd.
So
we've
excited.
Also talked about Gran Turismo 7 is the 4th. Then Project Triangle Strategy, which I guess is the name we're going with still. March 4th.
You called the last one Octopath Traveler. I don't know what we're expecting out of these guys.
Spellforce 3 Reforged.
I want that game so bad, though.
Is a game I'm kind of looking forward to a little bit. And then Chocobo GP, which is a game no one's really looking forward to, right? March 10th. There is a handful of stuff coming out the first couple weeks. Dot Hack Last Recode is coming out on the Switch on March 10th, which is a game I hear is supposed to be really good, which I have not dabbled in.
Dot Hack games are always pretty solid.
It's like a great Switch game, though, to have that nice JRPG stuff on the Switch for the go. Yeah, there's a lot of... Tunic coming out March 16th. That's a game that's been talked about for a long time.
It's been in development for a billion years.
I really want to see Tunic.
Ooh, then the 25th, we've got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which looks pretty badass. Pretty excited about that. And then March 25th is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is another game I'm pretty excited for.
Super gonna break the internet.
Yeah, and then we have it dated for March, but not a date in March, is Grand Theft Auto 5's next gen patch. So yeah,
another 100 million copies of that one.
So then I'm gonna quickly kind of go through this next chunk, because this is all just not dated stuff through Q1 that's just kind of thrown out there. So they still talk the Cyberpunk 2077 next gen patch is supposed to be coming out.
Yes, that's what I'm curious. Actually, the next gen patch, they were saying it's going to be in the first quarter, and you know what, man? I'm ready to give Cyberpunk another shot.
I would too, but I don't even know if they don't have a date by now.
It's kind of weird, right? It's a little weird. Yeah.
Then we've got jumping right into May. April doesn't even have anything dated at all, which is odd.
It'll happen. It'll get games.
We've got May 24th is Forspoken. That's dated still. June.
You know what? I'm excited for Forspoken. It looked kind of like
people are kind of very like a lot of people have been able to play it recently, and they've been kind of like meh. They're like it's okay.
I'm really enjoying the gameplay actually. The looks of it from the combination of like what you can do with her armlets. I have seen some fantastic magic. And you know what? I always love me a game where like the primary user is like a spellcaster or like a mage, because I feel like it could be really cool looking. And she seems like a spellcaster mage kind of main character. And if they have like a really cool like magic warrior kind of aesthetic to it, I'm kind of digging the vibe. My thoughts on Forspoken.
Yeah, I mean it looks cool. I want to get my hands on it and see or watch some like review videos because I just want to know if it looks fun, but are they just showing us the best parts of the game in the videos? Is kind of what I'm feeling like. Moving right along, June we've got Cuphead, the Delicious Last Course on the 30th.
I'm scared of that game.
Another finally thing that's been worked on since like 800 years ago.
Yeah. Another game that is stated for June but doesn't have a date is Steel Rising, which is a game that looks pretty interesting. I think this is by the people that did Greedfall, isn't it?
Yes. I have a friend playing Greedfall right now.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, they're the people that did it's Spider Studio. They did Greedfall, which I didn't play a lot of, but it's like a game I want to go back and play. I just keep forgetting to go and play it. This looks pretty cool. Not too much about it yet. Jumping into just random Q2 stuff. Ghostwire Tokyo is not dated, but just scheduled for Q2.
Excited for that.
That looks pretty good.
So excited for that.
Moss 2, if anyone liked the first Moss, which was a VR game, and I think it was regular and VR. Also stated for quarter 2 is the game that, Alex, you talked about, the AI Synomium Files. Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp.
Oh, right. Advance Wars.
That's still not dated, it looks like. It just pops in for next quarter.
That was supposed to come out in like last month, December, so
it pushed.
Oh, it won't be long though. Like it's coming.
And then to kind of wind out the rest of the year of announced stuff, Saints Row is now pushed to August 23rd, the reboot make of that game, which looks interesting. Q3 stated, we got Redfall, which
excited for that game.
I have a feeling that game's going to get delayed till
I also have a feeling that game's getting delayed.
I just have a feeling. Same with the other game that's for Q3, which is Hogwarts Legacy. I think that's going to get pushed to next year. Because there's not much about that yet.
Then what is left for this ending of the year? Like,
I wonder if they're going to announce some stuff maybe summertime before the end of the year, and I think that's what's
this year is very bottom heavy at the beginning.
It's interesting.
Guys, E3 hasn't happened yet.
Well, by the sound of it, E3 may not even happen at all.
Yeah. Well, okay, E3 might not happen, but they still have to. The games will still get announced.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We gotta sell these games before they can start selling you on the next games. Don't panic. There will be games to play in November 2022.
Gaming just canceled in 2022.
Yeah, that's it.
That brings us to November dated games. There's one November 2022 release, and that's Starfield right now, which I'm betting will be delayed. November 11th is a great date.
Are we calling it now?
I'm calling it now. That game's coming out either in December of 2022 or spring of 2023.
I think it makes it. I think
someone
really think
timestamp this 16th of January. Alex thinks we're going to be playing Starfield this year.
And Breath of the Wild too. We're playing both those games this year.
Alex, you know what? If you think so.
Yeah, I think you're a crazy kid.
I think Microsoft needs Redfall or Starfield to come out this year, and I don't think it'll be Redfall.
I think Microsoft's big hidden thing is somehow I think Fable's got to come out this year, or Avowed, or is it Avowed? That's the other one they have. One of those two I think are coming out this year.
Is Avowed Xbox?
Yeah, it's exclusive. PC, Xbox.
Keep going, Kev, because I'm waiting for.
Oh, let me just finish this list because we got December is Stalker 2, which just got pushed there, so that comes out December 8th.
Bloody man, come on.
Yeah,
why?
sucks.
Oh, I'm so angry. Like,
and then I just have we have the last quarter, just anything that was announced for quarter 2022, quarter 4, and then just 2022 overall, but not dated. We've got 6 Days in Fallujah, which is another game that's been passed around for years and years. The Lord of the Rings Gollum, Sonic Frontiers is not dated. New Call of Duty game, which is Untitled, which we know it's just coming. What else we got for 2022? These all look like just little games. That's basically it that's coming out so far that I think we're expecting at least at some point.
I think Bayonetta 3 is another big game that 2022 is...
I don't see it listed as dated yet. They might have... Did they date 2023?
In the trailer, it says 2022.
Okay. Oh, Gotham Knights is also
God of War. Yeah.
And God of War. Yeah, Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok.
I don't see that. Oh, let me keep scrolling. There's more. So Gotham Knights is listed for 2022. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is 2022. Vampire the Masquerade 2022.
Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Alex, I don't know if you're...
Let me keep looking.
Isn't Ever Crisis the one where they're the mobile battle royale?
That came out. Isn't that like?
No, I don't think so. I think that's still coming out.
Yeah. I have it right here.
I found a Final Fantasy VII mobile game just came out.
Earthlock 2, Splatoon 3. There's that on here. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's just not dated, but it's just not even quartered. It's just put in for 2022. So basically everything you guys are saying.
Those are all the trailers that we got last year that just said 2022 at the end of it.
Yeah, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Resident Evil 4 Remake. There's
Resident Evil 4 Remake is dated?
It's dated for the year, but that's not dated like a date, just the year. Path of Exile 2 is supposed to come out in 2022 also.
Yeah.
I haven't even announced Resident Evil 4 Remake, technically. It was that was in the Capcom leak a while back where like hackers stole a bunch of Capcom information and they were like, we'll leak it if you don't give us millions of dollars, and they're like, just go ahead and leak it.
Here's another big one. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is 2022.
That'll be delayed. I am calling that one will be delayed.
Really?
It's
a fun game.
If I might say, I don't know if anyone remembers from the 2019 or 2020 E3 Atomic Heart. Haven't heard much about it, and it had a
word about that.
It had a really, really cool trailer. It's announced at E3 again. It's going to be for this year. Surprise kind of game. That's I know that's a little under the radar, or maybe over the radar, but yeah.
Yeah, that's something else I didn't even see it listed on there, so I don't know where it places.
Yeah, I don't either, to be honest.
But yeah, so that's basically we got 2022 in a nutshell here of what we've got as of right now. But as you said, Alex,
that is a lot of games.
There's a lot of games
the first half of the year, but I think, as you said, as we get closer to summertime, E3 time, I think more stuff will get announced and dated and pushed or delayed or something. Because right now we basically got February and March to look forward to, and I guess the rest of this month in January.
We know Sony's going to do a big blowout for PSVR 2. I don't think it's going to come out this year, but they announced that they have a follow-up VR headset, and that'll bring its own kind of set
That's right.
with it. Nintendo Directs are a thing that I think are going to come back very soon. At the earliest after Arceus, or Arceus, whatever, they're going to let that game breathe a little bit. Microsoft, they need to do... They got nothing until Redfall, so they need to announce something. At least, I think Halo Infinite and Forza Horizon 5 need the next kind of what's next, thing for them.
So far,
what's the next bit of content for these games? But yeah, man, there's a lot coming next year. It's a good time to be a gamer. Lots to play.
Agreed. All right, before we go, I think Alex, you had a little announcement you wanted to do here.
I do have an announcement. So we kind of teased this on our last show, the last show of 2021, that we're going to be doing a giveaway. And today we're announcing that giveaway. So we are going to be giving a copy of Forza Horizon 5. This exact copy, the one I'm holding in my hands. It is sealed, brand new. It can be yours. So this was the game that won our game. It could be you. In the car, you can't really see it. They tinted the windows a lot, but that could be you. So this won our Game of the Year 2021. We're going to be giving it away. So you can look for the details on our social media. They're going to be posted up there very shortly. But basically going to be the standard contest like we always do. Make sure to follow us. Make sure to like our post, and you'll get your name thrown into the virtual hat. And then we'll pick a winner, and I will get this sent out over to you ASAP. So yeah, Forza Horizon 5. I don't actually have this myself, so I'm jealous that we're giving it away. But
so Alex might win it. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, Alex, it's completely rigged.
Is that the Series X version or the Xbox One version?
It's both. Microsoft does smart delivery,
I saw.
So you get both. And this is the first game I've actually seen, just a fun fact, in the new packaging, and like the new box art style. So Microsoft finally moved away from the old like Xbox One header, and now they have this fancy Series X Xbox One. So yeah,
I like it.
You could stare at the box art too if you want. So
stare at the box art. Do it.
Yeah, we'll be announcing this contest over on our social media channels, so make sure to check those out. I'll get Kevin. Can you put a link in the description below to our social media?
I can definitely do that, and it's already there, so
amazing.
Should be good.
There you go.
Kevin.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to give away a copy of our Game of the Year, Forza Horizon 5. So check that out.
Perfect. All right. Well, that wraps up the preview show of 2022. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks everyone in the chat. And yeah, tweet at us, message us, enter for contests, and let's keep 2022 going here and see what we got in store. We'll see if Breath of the Wild 2 sequel comes out or not. Will not.
I will make a point of playing Starfield and Breath of the Wild 2 on the same day just to spite you.
Just to spite me. Okay.
And I will see you guys in May or June because Destiny 2 is coming out and Elden Ring. So
oh my gosh,
I might just not even be here.
Jeez. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.
All right.
Take it easy.
Bye everyone. Thanks so much.